Hey, what up world, this is your boy The Made Man. Welcome to Hacking the System, the show where I teach you how to make six figures by any means necessary while you're still young. Create the lifestyle of your dreams and hustle to greatness.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Tim, and today I have a very special friend on the channel. I want to welcome Ian to the show.
Hey, what's up, man?
How you doing, man?
Good, I'm good. Glad to be here. It's an honor.
Thanks for coming, man. I appreciate it. And so today I want to talk to Ian about his lifestyle, his made man hustle, and I want to share with you guys, kind of what he's doing in order to live this lifestyle. Can you tell us a little bit about the Made Man brand?
Yeah, so I have a site called Diary of a Made Man, which began as a journal and diary of my life, my travel. I love filming. I have a video production company, and it all started for me just traveling the world in my new job in sales at IBM. Right, I first had jobs in IT. I have a background in IT as a developer, and I would travel a lot, whether with IBM or Deloitte Consulting, being a consultant, traveling Monday through Friday. Right, and when you're traveling, you kind of go to all these different places and you want to document the journey, right? So I'll just film stuff, take pictures, share that on my blog, and it kind of happened. I went from being a grad student in engineering, like a broke grad student in engineering, right, to a point where I barely had like two dimes to put together.
Oh,
like I was going to McDonald's getting Happy Meals. Like Happy Meals, dollar menu and stuff. And within 2 weeks after I graduated school and got that first job, my entire lifestyle just totally shifted to a point where I'll go to restaurants and not even check the price and just order anything I want. And I was like, oh my God, this just happened almost overnight, right? I kind of went from being this person who was just out there grinding away, studying, right, all this engineering classes and stuff, to now where I had this lifestyle. And I was like, you know what, mama, I made it, right?
Yeah.
Like I have this, like, I'm a made man now. But once I reached that lifestyle, everything made sense then. Because before I was kind of slaving away or grinding away, not really seeing the purpose of studying so hard in school, not seeing the purpose of doing all of this. But then once I actually achieved this lifestyle, I was like, this is why it was so hard. This is why it was worth it, right? So all that suffering, I found meaning in that suffering, right? So I mentioned earlier to you, my favorite quote is by Nietzsche, a philosopher. To live is to suffer. To survive is to find meaning in that suffering, right? So now I have found meaning in that suffering, meaning in that grind, in that process, right? So now I have a better perspective. When somebody says trust the process, people don't really know what it means. Right, but now I truly understand what that means.
So you were like about trusting the process. You have to put in that time. You have to raise your skill level in order to get to that point of greatness.
Yeah.
It seems like. What was your motivation in all this, and in trying to become like someone better than average, greater, the best?
I mean, so it kind of goes back to, I am in a way a narcissist. So that element does play a factor. But in more, it's just, I found a purpose because my parents are immigrants. I'm an immigrant. I was born in Uganda, Africa, in East Africa. Came here in 8th grade. So all the things my parents have done for me as a kid, I kind of want to pay homage to that. And also other people out there. I have lots of friends in high school. People I was having fun with, going to the same class, playing basketball. They were smart kids, bright kids, but they didn't make it. Some didn't go to college because they didn't have the money or loans or what have you. Some people just fell in the wrong groups. And I've kind of seen like all the friends I've had fall off, right? So it's kind of like, if you view this as a video game, not everybody has made it past this level, right?
Yeah.
So kind of like, it's like you have high school, you have college, then you have the corporate world, right? There are levels to this, right? But not everybody has reached this level where I'm at now, because I'm only 28 years old. Right? Last year I made 200 grand. Like I was
Wow.
blown away.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Right? Last 3 years, I made over 100 grand. And I wasn't the smartest kid in school at all. I mean, I was smart, went to school on a merit scholarship, but in graduate school, I was not the smartest kid. Like, I barely graduated college, like grad school, right? Because the threshold to graduate was 3.0. I had a 2.9, right? And I had to take a whole bunch of classes, drop some other classes,
Oh, man.
basically doing like academic engineering and hacking, just to graduate with a 3.1. Right? Then in undergrad, technically my school should have kicked me off my scholarship, right? Because I didn't really meet the threshold, right? But I was able to just kind of figure out different hacks to keep on going, right? So, and looking back now, I can see that just one small slip up, and I would not be here where I am today. So it makes me appreciate that. So in a way, I kind of want to help other people figure out how to get where I'm at right now. So I want to document that journey by giving out the blueprint.
That's very impressive with what you've achieved over the past couple of years, and to say something like that now, people don't see the hard work behind it, what goes into it. And part of my channel is talking about the unconventional lifestyle, and I feel like you hacked the system in a sense, and figuring out what's working and how to maximize your investments. So I wanted to ask you about so someone who's living a everyday lifestyle, like a 9-to-5 job in the conventional lifestyle. How do they? What can they do? How do they start thinking differently, meeting the right people, and to actually make more money?
So I think the first step is to make an internal shift with the way you view the world, right? So basically a mental shift, more your inner psychology and how you think about things, right? So I have lots of different resources that kind of change my whole perspective on life. But I think once you make that mental shift, everything just kind of falls in place, right? So if you're out there working 9 to 5, right, start to view opportunity everywhere. What's your dream? Where are you trying to go? Then break that down into action steps, action plans, right? Break down how do you get there, right? Then work ruthlessly every single day on that goal, right? Like today, for example, right? We're supposed to be here at 1 p.m., right? But I was late, right? So I woke up at like 1:30, right? I'm like, oh snap, right? I have to be here with Tim. But do you know why I was late? Because I was working till 6 a.m. on Diary of a Made Man. Right? Like,
and I want to mention something funny too, because the first time you and I met, I think you were waiting in the Starbucks, and I was the one running up late. So
Right.
I feel like this is a trade-off or something, right?
right. So that's the kind of dedication it takes, right? Because whether you're working 9 to 5, right? Whatever goals you have for your lifestyle, for your dream, you can do that from 6 to 2 a.m., right? So figure out that goal, then work ruthlessly towards that. Then once you kind of reach that point where you can pursue that, then do that. Then whatever you're doing currently right now, take out anything that's toxic that holds you back from achieving your goals. So for example, prior to joining IBM, I was working as a consultant at Deloitte. I mean, it was a nice gig, but the pay was all right? It was only like 85K, right? But, right, I still had this, almost the illusions of grandeur, right? Where 85K when I was 24 years old was not enough for me. Because I'm thinking like $1 billion.
Hey, you got big ideas.
Right? So when you're thinking of $1 billion, you're like, what is 85K? Right? So I was very ruthless and I kind of hacked the system. When I figured out, I was working on a project for 2 weeks. They had me flying randomly to the middle of nowhere in Kentucky on an IT project for healthcare. And when I was there, I was waking up 8 a.m., working till 8 p.m. Because in consulting, they charge by the hour. They bill by the hour.
Okay.
So they don't really reward efficiency. So when I finish work at like 2 p.m., I can just leave early, right? Because that's less money for the company, right? Because they have to bill by the hour. And we had this whole principle where you don't leave till the manager leaves. Right? So if the manager is there till 8 p.m. and you finish at 2 p.m., you start there till 8 p.m.
So that's not right at all.
Yeah, so that was not right at all for me, right? Then I would go back to my hotel room and I'd have to join conference calls at midnight to deal with our team in India, And I'm like, you know what? After 2 weeks, I was like, you know what? I can't do this anymore at all. So I quit the job. Right? I just dropped it. But I also had that leverage because I had an offer from IBM. But that wasn't just a random offer. I had a friend of mine, Raj, also known as Kelvin, who also worked at IBM. And he told me it was a better work-life balance. He told me, dude, this is one of the easiest jobs I've ever had. Like, in terms of work-life balance, like, today I only worked 2 hours. I just went to the office, had a meeting, and that was it. Right? I wasn't there from 8 a.m. till 8 p.m. So knowing that insight, I applied to IBM, knowing that IBM lets you work from home. Right? So having that life hack saved everything. Right? Because once I left Deloitte, went to IBM, things totally shifted. Right? My schedule wasn't that hectic. Right? I had more control, more flexibility in my schedule because I was working at home. Didn't have a boss or manager over my shoulder like in my other job, right? Telling me, hey, what's that, right? So having that life hack kind of helped me being able to have other side hustles on the side.
Okay.
So it helped me have time to start my own video production company, to start doing other things, to start making money, right?
Yeah. So to summarize kind of what you've said, it looks like you were at a 9-to-5 job to start with.
8 to 8 job.
8 to 8. Okay, well that's even worse. But,
Yeah.
And then you found a gig with IBM in order to free up more of your time, so you
Right.
can use that time to hustle and try other things.
Exactly.
To become successful. And so, what are some of the things that changed your mind, or maybe some of the books that you've read, or what was it that aha moment that you got it?
Right. So the first book, going back to that inner self-belief, is the book called Psycho-Cybernetics. This is a book, probably my favorite book of all time. It's a book by Maxwell Maltz, that's the author's name, and he's known as the father of the entire self-help industry. So all the self-help stuff you see now, self-improvement, this guy started that field. Right?
This is going back.
Yeah, like way
roots.
back. I think like the book came out in like the 60s, I believe. Right? So he was a doctor that would basically do surgery on people. But he would notice that when he did surgery on people, they still had the same belief system. So people would come in to see him saying, hey, I want to have a surgery on my face, on my ear, my nose, whatever, right? Lose weight, right? And he noticed that although he would fix them up externally, they'll still have the same belief system internally, that they weren't beautiful, they had issues with. So he was like, you know what? External surgery is not the root. We want to solve this issue. So I figured out how to solve this internally by changing how people view and think about themselves. But the good thing about it, though, it's different from other self-help books that have come out after that, in the sense that it's not some woo-woo magical thinking type book.
Okay.
Like, it's an actual scientific doctor giving you scientific principles on how to change the way you view yourself, how to kind of become more positive thinking, have a better outlook on life, how to lose fear, anxiety, right? How to become more successful, right? And it's all based on scientific research.
Okay.
Right? So it's not like fluff, right? So that's why that's one of my favorite books of all time. The second book is Tim Ferriss, obviously, The 4-Hour Workweek.
Yeah.
Right? I read that, I think, when I was in college. Right? So ever since then, my entire outlook on life has been 80-20, 80-20, 80-20. Right? Like,
Is that the Pareto?
yeah, that's the Pareto principle, right? So pretty much 80% of your success comes from 20% of your efforts, right? So everything you're trying to optimize and downsize. So that's been a very helpful book. And the third book I would say is actually Rich Dad Poor Dad, but the second book, I think it's called The Investor's Quadrant, right? Something quadrant, right? And that book was vital. I read that book back in high school or college, I think. But it talks about how most people who make money make it by starting their own businesses and being investors, right? It kind of goes a little bit deeper on the first book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, by talking about pretty much there are two sides. There's this quadrant, right? But there are two sides to it. Most people who make money are people who start their own businesses, from Elon Musk to Facebook and Amazon and all these other entrepreneurs.
Right.
To the other people, the investors, who invest in entrepreneurs, right? So he was like, pretty much if you want to be rich, there are two things you have to do. Either start your own business or invest in people that start their own businesses.
Okay.
So that book kind of gave me that kickstart to have an outlook on life where I always wanted to be an entrepreneur and have my own businesses. Even back in school, I kind of slacked off because I knew the system was just a conveyor belt to make me an employee. And my goal was not to be an employee. My goal was to become successful, make millions, make $1 billion, right? Not there yet, but that's the goal, right?
Yeah.
And to get there, I always knew I had to start my own business or invest in other businesses. So everything I did in life was was hacked to go towards that route.
So it seems like what you were doing was that you were doing these jobs, and then you found like certain hacks and certain ways to like hack the system.
Right.
In a sense. Can you tell us more about some of the ventures that you've tried, even the ones that flopped, and the ones that were successful, just to give us an idea?
Yeah, so I've tried lots of things. So I was like, how can I afford this $2,000 camera? So I kind of tricked myself by saying this: buy this expensive camera, but freelance on the side to recoup the money back. So I bought the camera using that business justification. Went out and filmed stuff for free for like 5 months or so. Right? I mean, I had some experience editing videos with my travel blog, but there were videos on my phone, right? So I had some basic level of expertise. Then I kind of took the professional camera, went out there, filmed different events from fashion shows to parties, events, so forth.
Yeah.
And just kind of learned, got better. Then it came to a point where people were willing to hire me for free. I mean not free, but to pay me, right? So they'll start off with, I began charging like $25 an hour. Then ended up changing the price to $50 an hour. Then I was like, you know what, why not? $100 an hour, all right? So I kind of was able to graduate up. I went from doing this for free to now people are hiring me. I put up a site, put a listing on Yelp, and ended up getting clients and booking. Then it came to a point one time where I made more in 1 month. I made $7 grand than I did with my day job after taxes. And I was like, wow, this has some potential, right? But being the hacker that I am, right, you almost can't really settle for anything.
Always want to one up.
Yeah, I actually ended up ditching that business now, right? Because I have a job now where I'm making more money. I'm making more money in my day job and it's more hectic. But I also realized that this was a service business. I was exchanging time for money, and I can't scale that up infinitely, right? So that's why I kind of want to go more to having that business where I don't have to exchange time for money. I'm exchanging value for money. So with that, the sky's the limit, really. Right? So that was one business I had. I also launched an app in the App Store called Peer Hustle.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a mobile, on-demand, local freelancer marketplace. That came from the need of me being a freelance videographer, doing videos for people, and having to hire other people to help me out, like a second shooter, photographer, makeup artist, whatever, right? Other local freelancers within minutes, basically in a time frame of 1 week or less, right? Having them help me. And there aren't really platforms out there for those freelancers. Like you can't find those people on Upwork or whatever because it's more locally focused, right? So I had that problem, that need. So I was like, you know what? Let me solve it myself.
Right away. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right away.
So let's say somebody hires you in 2 days to film this show or this event, and you want to hire a second camera. Where do you find that, right? Besides your network. Because prior to that, I was just posting comments on Facebook. Hey, I'm filming. Anybody want to help out, right? But I want to have a more optimized platform for that. So that's when I launched Peer Hustle. Now Peer Hustle obviously hasn't taken off like Uber or Airbnb per se, right? I'm still going through growing pains. But I've learned so much from that, but I'm now taking everything I've learned from that hustle and parlaying that into my new venture, Diary of a Made Man.
Okay. So the two hustles you tried are the video production company and the Peer Hustle app.
Yeah.
that you released.
So I also have hustles on hustles on hustles. I also have the Amazon hustle as well.
Yeah.
So I basically do Amazon FBA, and I do that. I've been doing that for over 2 years now, and now I'm making anywhere from $2 to $4 grand a month
Wow.
on autopilot. Like that's probably my best hustle to date, right? Because it's almost like dropshipping, right? I import stuff from Alibaba with my supplier in China. They mailed, like my last order was 4,000 batteries, because I sold batteries, private label batteries. So they sent 4,000 items to Amazon's warehouse across the country. I don't touch them, I don't do anything. All I do is just see, is inventory low? If inventory is low, I order more batteries. Pay for it, and that's it. And on autopilot, like every month, like clockwork, every 2 weeks, Amazon sends me a check. And that check comes in handy because sometimes you're like, damn, I'm out of cash. And the check comes in like, oh, thank you, Amazon. Right? So Amazon Hustle has been great for me as well. I've also dabbled with Airbnb, where I basically list out my house, my entire house on Airbnb. Last year I made about 27 grand on Airbnb on the side. So pretty much I have a job where I travel a lot, right? So those days when I'm traveling, I make sure it's booked, right? But sometimes the money's so good that I'll actually have people stay in my place and I'll go spend the week at my parents' place.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, hey mom, I'm home, right?
another hack.
Yeah, right. So, right? Because I mean, I'm like, hey, money is money, right? Because my place, I was charging anywhere from $300 to $340 per night, right? So if somebody books the place for 4 days, that's $1,200. I mean, are you not willing to go see your parents for 4 days to make $1,200? Right?
That's true, yeah.
So that's kind of the mindset I've had, because I used all these different hustles to finance my other hustles, like fair hustles. That was financed on things like Amazon and Airbnb. Because people say, I don't have the money to do this business. You can make the money, just find a way, right? And be willing to find a way to do that.
Yeah. So you're trying all these different hustles, and part of this channel also is there's a lot of freelancers. People are working overseas, and you were talking about how you were trading your time for money in a sense at the beginning of your media business. You scaled up your business kind of like a freelancer. $25 an hour, $50, $100, right? And so, can you share with us a little bit about how some of these hustles might or might not work for someone who's, say, in Thailand, for example? Because I think like Airbnb would be a very dependent location hustle. But so
in terms of location, where the people are across the world?
Yeah, like what can they do, or what are some of the hustles that you did that can be
location independent?
Location independent.
I mean, actually, those two are Amazon and Airbnb, because Amazon, the people who are staying in Australia, anywhere around the world, you can still buy items, send it to Amazon in America, and sell and make money.
Okay.
Right, so it's not really location independent, because the people in Thailand who just do that full time. Right, like the nomads, right, who go there, the expats. And same thing with Airbnb as well, because Airbnb is a global company.
Yeah.
I've used Airbnb in Brazil, right, in Peru, Machu Picchu, everywhere, right? But the good thing about them is, right, you can do them anywhere in the world. There isn't really a restriction in terms of where you can do that. And it's also a platform you can leverage and make money very, very quickly. Now, in terms of the things like video production, you can do that as well. I'm not sure about the pricing per se, because cost of living, different locations, it's going to be totally different. But for me, something that I've kind of seen as a new platform, is kind of to brand myself and do things like YouTube, right, and blogging, right? Because not really in a way to be like, here, I'm selling you this course or this book, right? I mean, this course or this program. But I feel like information, if you create an information product, that has more value, and you can make more money with that. Because with Amazon,
so you can sell it over and over and over.
Right. Yeah. So that's where I love Amazon, and I love Amazon FBA, but I kind of every single time I have to order new inventory, that's the check I'm cutting to my supplier. And I was like, hey, if I was doing an information product, it's just a one-time check. That's it. Right. So for example, if like right now I'm publishing a book, right? So let's say you have an ebook or you have a video program or what have you, right? That you do. Once all the upfront costs, after that it's just pure profit. You don't have to rebuy video inventory like you do with products. So with products, you have to be concerned with margins, right? For information, the margins are higher than infinite, really.
So you were mentioning about your book, your ebook, and I know you released it recently. And you're also working on another product or another book.
Right. Yeah. I mean, so
Can you tell us a little bit more about the book that you have released right now, and then the one that you're planning?
Yeah. So actually, the book is still in review. I had to postpone the launch date.
Oh, okay.
But that book is called The Complete Freelancer Guide. So these are basically while launching Fair Hustle, we produced this enormous amount of content with our writer, with our team, right? And it was about freelancing guides, trying to get other people to come to our website and get value from the freelancing content we were producing. But we're like, you know what? We can get a larger reach if we take this content, repurpose it into a book, right? So we had to go through like almost 2 years worth of content, right? Find out just the stuff we liked, right? And turn that into an ebook, into a print book, and into an audio book.
You got all the three?
Yeah, all three. Right. So in about 1.5 to 2 months, we'll be putting that out there on Amazon for people to use. Right. So being able to have that content out there, and it basically guides people who have that interest in becoming a freelancer, but don't really know where to start. Don't know what the process is like. Don't know the little nuances you have to take care of. So basically acts as a point A to point B for freelancing.
And I want to shine a little bit more light on your brand as well, because I know you have the brand Diary of a Made Man. And so, what's in the works? I know you got hustles going on all the time,
right?
But what can we expect to see from you in terms of maybe video or information or products, that kind of thing?
Yeah. So on my site, Diary of a Made Man, I'm pretty much putting out content every single week. And this is not fluff at all. Like, I'm basically giving the game away. I'm dropping every single week. I'm dropping one 5,000 word how-to guide on something. Whether it's how to make money on Amazon, how to make money on Airbnb, how to become a better public speaker, how to find that six-figure job, right? Every single week, I drop a 5,000 word guide, a blueprint really, right? Most people will usually put this out as an ebook. I'm dropping this out for free, and it comes with a accompanying about half-hour video going more in-depth on the same topic on my channel on YouTube, right? Then I also put that out on my podcast as well. So like clockwork, I'm doing this every single week, and this is all for free. I'm not charging for this. Just giving out all this information to show people that you can do this. This is not that easy. I mean, it's not easy, but it's not that hard, right? So here's the blueprint. Now there's no excuse not to take action. Right, so I'm doing all of this, and hopefully towards the end of the year, I want to launch my second book called Hacking the System. The blueprint to making $100,000. Right, I want this book to really be your Bible to making six figures. Right, like I'll talk about my story, my journey, how I came to this point. Then I also give actual examples and exercises and insights and action plans for you to go out there and make six figures.
I think your fans and your viewers really appreciate that you sharing all that content, and I'm sure everyone's looking forward to it too. I don't want to take up too much more of your time here, and is there anything you want to anyone want to mention about before we set off here?
I mean, just check me out, diaryofamadman.com. Diary of a Made Man on social media. I'm active on Snapchat, Instagram. Right, I also love traveling as well. Right, so I'm just out here trying to evangelize that made man lifestyle and show people this is what it looks like. Right, I want to inspire people because people have all these dreams, but when they see actual inspiration, but also having substance behind that with actual action plans and blueprints to achieving that same thing, I think it changes the world.
Yeah, it's about changing those beliefs, and if you're seeing someone else who's able to do it, you start believing that you can do it too. So it's very inspirational in a sense.
Right.
And I really appreciate you being here in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, our nation's capital. The monuments, baby.
And I'm definitely going to link your website and other resources that you have. And is there anything else you want to say before we go?
This guy's the best, man. This guy's the best. He's going on a heck of a journey, and I wish you all the best, man.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. And I'll see you out on the road sometime. And keep hustling. And I'm sure we're going to do this again some more. Maybe in another country, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All right, thanks, guys. And thanks, Ian. And I'll see you guys later.
All right, that's a wrap. Thanks for checking out the show. Make sure to give it a like, subscribe, drop a comment and review. Check out my website, diaryofamadman.com, where I drop game every single week. Check me out on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, Diary of a Made Man. Let's go out there, make this money. Hustle to greatness.